Normally, you don't hear this kind of sentiment being expressed by conservatives, except as right-wingers try to polarize the subject and hit it from the angles that they're used to try to get their fan base to agree with them, to see this in the way that they see it. Right-wing commentators and mainstream media are failing to get people to be upset at the shooter, because I think their personal experience with healthcare is so bad that they are aware of the inconsistency with what a wealthy political commentator like Ben Shapiro is saying. This video, by the way, apparently is sitting at 21,000 dislikes, and how they personally feel. I work in a factory in a deep red state. My coworkers all voted for Trump and wears merch. They were laughing at this incident. It's not just the left. Ben, you're a millionaire. You're on a true blue-collar conservative. You're a rich guy that tries to appeal to working-class Republicans. You don't understand what poor people go through. Why do you pick on the left? This is bipartisan. You're out of touch. Ben, this issue is like 99% versus the 1%. Your audience is more likely working-class conservatives. We get denied health insurance claims and get screwed because we aren't rich like you. Remind me when you said we don't need to retire at 65. I'm glad the comments are giving Ben a reality check. Ben Shapiro is the CEO of his own company, so it makes sense he might see a little of himself as the victim. It ain't just the left. Ben tried to do this as a shocking targeted attack, and the left celebrates. As an independent content creator on the right, obviously, his job is to get people in his audience to say, killing a CEO is inappropriate. Of course. The norms, the civility. You can't kill a person in a position of power. Are you kidding me? The fuck? That's not allowed, right? And I'm not even saying that you can do that, okay? I'm not saying that at all, because I am a humanist, okay? I don't believe in the death penalty. Ben Shapiro does. I don't believe in capital punishment. My solutions are, in my opinion, a lot better than whatever the fuck these guys are saying. I personally am a firm and committed believer in universal health care. If we had universal health care, this kind of resentment would not exist. It's the same principle behind Me Too. Me Too movement was a movement that absolutely swung in the direction of justice, vigilante justice, because the institutions were not doing anything about mass harassment, sexual assaults in the workplace, right? And then, as vigilante movements, as is the case with most vigilante movements, it went far. It went too far, and then the pendulum swung back, right? And it's really interesting that Ben, Tim Pool, Matt Walsh have all tried to... Oh, it's at 8.5K dislikes. Sorry, it's not at 19K. Thank you, Little Bear, for showing me how many dislikes it is. The dislikes are still outweighing the likes on the video. But they are trying to spin it, okay? They are trying to spin it as hard as they can. They're trying to spin it as aggressively as they can. Matt Walsh's initial reaction was, oh, it's because they killed a white guy. And the left is celebrating it because it's a white guy. Yeah, here it is. The left is outright praising the first-degree murder of a health insurance CEO because he's a white male. If he was the CEO of the same company was a black woman, you would not be seeing any of the gloating and celebration. I hope everyone understands this basic point. There are two videos, dog. One has 20K dislikes. The other one, oh, wait, it does. The evil revolutionary left cheers murder. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. He made two videos on this. It is at 21,000 dislikes. Wow. So Matt Walsh immediately went in, and I noticed this because that other federal agent, what's his face? The Navy intelligence, former Navy intelligence guy, Jack Posobiec, was like, this guy's not a real hitman, right? Like, they were trying to find a way to still criticize the person that shot the CEO, but like, do it in a way where they could rally their own base. But their own base was like, no, we like this. We like this a lot. And all this does is make them look like they are out of touch charlatans that are directly trying to make divisive commentary on this matter. The left is outright praising the first degree murder of a health insurance CEO because he's a white male. If he was the CEO of the same company, but it was a black woman, blah, blah, blah. Most people were like, no. Yeah. This is the replies to Brian, the CEO. Okay. Brian Thompson, the CEO's LinkedIn post from a year ago. Brian Thompson, this seems like a laudable mission, but United Healthcare Group is failing my mother by not providing her basic care to get better and get back to her life. I think a lot of people realize that there is no right-wing identitarian politics in a moment like this, because it's such a clear-cut example of, right and wrong. I saw this. Yeah, I just realized that your entire business model requires us normal folk hate each other. I would say that healthcare is one of the most important issues in this country, one of the most glaringly obvious historic wrongs in this country that continues. And that is precisely the reason why even on fucking LinkedIn, you got other CEOs being like, yo, you suck, dog. You are doing a great job cutting your costs. Not having a single anesthesiologist and network in the entire state of Montana is a great policy to save you money. I'm telling you, man, healthcare and home ownership, like healthcare and housing prices, are the two key things that everyone gets fucked over by. Every single person. If a party was tackling that, they would be running the table permanently. They would have a permanent democratic popular regime. They would have a popular broad mandate. Education is very bad too, but I'm saying, like, in terms of like the top priorities, I think it's healthcare and housing. People are very, very, very angry, understandably, about the situation that is unfolding, about their own material realities. And these guys have gone on for far too long, very clearly cutting across that class consciousness by saying, don't worry about that. Don't worry about healthcare. Look at how these libtards, they hate white men. They hate you because you're white. All they do is they care about trans people. That's all they care about. And I think this kind of divisive narrative does not work in a situation where, like I said, it's a glaringly obvious problem with very real resentment. This proves you right on the take of the Walton family being persecuted and the egg prices going down. Yeah. Remember on Pod Save America, I said, if Kamala Harris came out and said, I am going to arrest the Walton family, and that is how we're going to claw back these egg prices, Americans would be 100% on board. Okay? She doesn't need to go that far. But you have to understand, like people don't care what the solutions are as long as there is a solution to those problems. Do you see what I'm saying? And it's clear. If someone was like, I'm going to arrest every healthcare CEO and we are going to institute some kind of like normal, good healthcare that every other country has, every other comparable nation state has on this planet, people will be like, yeah, no, that's it. That's my shit. I love that. That's assuming the median American knows who the wall. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're misunderstanding the point. I'm using the most extreme example I can use, something that like the Democratic Party is never going to do, but I'm using the most extreme example, something that normally Americans should be fearful of because of a century of Red Scare propaganda. And even then, I think they would still be on board. They would be like, okay, no, I see it. This is not the like solution, okay? I'm not saying that the solution is like going out and instituting vigilante justice against like random CEOs. The solution is legislative change. But I think that there can't be this much pressure without a pressure valve, okay? You cannot have this much pressure building up, this much resentment building up, and consistently move people's attention away from the real vectors of pressure, real vectors of resentment. And this is a moment where very clearly someone did take vigilante action, right? And people were like, yeah, I don't care about this. This person has like killed my grandmother. I don't give a shit. You cannot hurt tens of millions of Americans in this systematized form of violence, in the words of Engels, this social murder, okay? And then expect people to also lap it up and care about the institutions. This is the same thing that I talked about with Donald Trump winning the election now twice. In 2016, he won because people were like, I'm angry at these institutions. Fuck the establishment. I don't give a shit. Let's blow it up. And that's precisely what happened again. This time around, it happened once more, and people just don't understand it. Donald Trump's like, yeah, we're going to fix your housing prices. How am I going to do that? By deporting 20 million immigrants. I'm going to fix the egg prices. How? Deporting 20 million immigrants. It doesn't even have to make sense for a lot of people. They're just like, okay, I trust this guy. He sees the anger that I feel, and that's his solution. I'm willing to, take a bet. Every post on r/conservative is basically saying open corruption from leadership, unaffordable healthcare, wars and revolutions breaking out worldwide. We really might be hitting a critical point in history. Double the industry standard on claims denials. Eat the rich will start somewhere. Frankly, it's inevitable. You got Republicans talking about eat the rich, man. That's crazy. The entire Republican ideology revolves around defending the rich, and it's failing. It's because all of the divisive ways in which people have been sedated into,
folks, the reason we can
not recognizing who the real villains in society are failing as well. Okay? Where is it? Where is the other video that people were responding to? Did he delete it? Scroll up, second row. Oh, the evil revolutionary left cheers murder.
Updates in the search.
Yeah. L-Take, I'm glad the comment section noticed. The CEO is actually a criminal. I just realized your entire business model requires us normal folk to hate each other. I don't know why you're trying to keep pushing this as a left issue. It's across the board. Yep. That's it. It's not working. It's not working for the right, the populist right, the so-called populism of the right. It's only the populist right-wing sentiment is only effective if there's no motion on the left. This is why I say if the Democratic Party actually got their fucking shit straight and were truly fighting to fix some of these problems that Americans are facing, the Republicans would not be able to effectively cut out this like anti-trans shit, this anti-immigrant shit. It just wouldn't work because everyone would be like, okay, well, this guy wants to fucking make my healthcare free. I don't give a fuck. I don't care about trans people. I don't care. Yeah, they're weird. They're gross. Who gives a shit? Is the normal attitude that most right-wingers have. They're like, yeah, okay. Is that gonna put more money in my pocket? Is that gonna put food on my table if every single trans person is no longer allowed to compete? All 40 trans people in the entire fucking state, in the entire United States of America won't be able to compete in fucking high school swim meets? Is that gonna give you more money? Is that gonna make healthcare affordable? No. Make no mistake. I think the average American still has a lot of resentment and, would still talk about like mass deportations if their fucking Uber Eats order was cold. Okay. Make no mistake. That still very much exists. But this is something that they feel. This is something that they experience. And it's very obvious that it's such a significant problem for them that, they're looking at a situation like broad daylight assassination and going, nah, that's actually sick. And we don't even know the actual shooter's motives yet. Like, we don't know for sure what the motives are, right? I've had 2 doctors retire in the past 4 to 5 years because they claimed they were tired of spending the majority of their day arguing with insurance companies about how to care for their patients. One said apparently their accounting degree trumps my medical degree. Everything is denied by default, and hope to frustrate the doctor impatient enough to concede. I don't condone the murder either, but I'm not surprised it happened. I'm dealing with insurance right now and have multiple doctors say I need surgery and the insurance company still refuses to approve it. Yeah. It's fucked up, man. It's fucked up.
The widening manhunt for the gunman who killed United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. This morning, New York City police say they recovered what they believe is the shooter's backpack in Central Park. That's where the gunman fled after shooting Thompson in front of a hotel in Midtown Manhattan early Wednesday morning. While the backpack may serve as a valuable clue, the search is now expanding well beyond New York City and now includes the FBI and more than 80 police departments nationwide. Allie Bauman has been following the story and joins us now. Allie, good morning.
Good morning, Dana and Michelle. Investigators now believe the gunman left New York on a bus shortly after the shooting. NYPD sources say they have more than 200 images of the person they want to question, but they have not named a suspect or determined a motive. Meanwhile, the shooting and public reaction to it has left some healthcare and business executives rattled. New video obtained by CBS News appears to show the individual who police are calling a person of interest stopping to bend toward a pile of trash on West 55th Street. This video was taken just a few minutes after surveillance footage at a nearby Starbucks shows a hooded and masked man using cash to buy a drink in a power bar. Less than a half hour later, United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was shot and killed just a few blocks away. Police say the gunman was then seen riding a bike into Central Park before he exits on the Upper West Side without a backpack, and he ditches the bike.
We have him in a taxi cab, and the taxi cab takes him up to 178th Street and Broadway, which, as we know, is a Port Authority bus center. Those buses are interstate buses. That's why we believe he may have left New York City.
Sources tell CBS News the gunman may have boarded a bus that was leaving for Atlanta. On Friday, investigators combed Central Park and found what they believe is the shooter's backpack. And they focused on the Manhattan hostel where they think he stayed and where a surveillance camera captured this image. It's the person they're looking for with his mask down.
There's lots of time left. This is by no...
Again, sorry to spam, but I wanted to add my parents are conservative Christian and they're loving this. My mom has cancer. She definitely feels vindicated. She literally just texted me to say she didn't know if she and my dad would be watching the Daily Wire anymore. Lol. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is a glaringly obvious pressure point for a lot of Americans. They don't give a shit. They don't care. They don't care that, like, this is a system-breaking act. Does that make sense? Do you guys understand? I wouldn't say this is like a real class awakening, but at least on this issue, people recognize the harm. They see it. They experience it. They recognize it. They know who's responsible for it. My company, Mayo Clinic, has a literal division of people whose job it is to argue with insurance companies on behalf of doctors because they don't have enough time to argue every single diagnosis or procedure that their patients need. Yeah. All that stuff makes healthcare more expensive in this country, for the record. All of that stuff makes healthcare more expensive, more costly, and shittier overall. Anyway, and the police are desperate. Apparently, NYPD sources say the artificial intelligence is going to play a big role in nailing the idea of the gunman who killed the United Health CEO. His mask, to point out, didn't totally cover his face. Bone structure was showing through the rest of it. And AI will come up with a pretty clear match, they believe. I think it's very funny. that they are using the bunk ass artificial intelligence. The irony of using AI to capture an assassin who killed a CEO that instituted an AI model with a 90% error rate is fucking fabulous. This is low key, yet another instance of the enshittification of everything. The profit motives creating worse outcomes overall. And it's a institution that's tasked with like finding this criminal, right? And they're going to fail. It's a failure. The AI system is fundamentally broken. It's only good and working as intended when you are using it to deny insurance claims. It's supposed to be bad. It works as intended with the Lavender program, Israel's targeting program. It works as intended when you're just using that as a plausible deniability to be like, oh, well, our Lavender AI targeting system found all of these people to be Hamas terrorists. AI doesn't work when you are actually trying to hyper target and find a specific individual. It's supposed to be a mechanism that you use to say, oh yeah, to use when you don't actually have to, solve the issue.
No means in any way cold, this trail. This is a hot trail.
Meanwhile, the shooting has reignited national anger with the healthcare industry. Investigators say the words deny, delay, and depose were etched into bullet casings found at the scene, words often used to criticize insurance companies' tactics in rejecting patients' claims.
We're fighting with the insurance company over her dialysis to keep her alive.
In the days after the shooting, social media lit.
Yeah, the story very quickly turned into like the broad public reception and the anger that they feel towards this guy who just got murked and the entire insurance industry. You can't fuck over tens of millions of Americans at the behest of the profit motive for years and years, and then expect people not to respond like this in a moment where there is some semblance of vigilante justice at play. Okay? This requires systematic overhaul. Okay? This requires legitimate change. That's it. And these guys, these institutions, mainstream media, right-wing Republicans, people who maintain the aesthetic posture of civility, people who are desperately trying to frame this as a partisan issue, those people are woefully inequipped. They're underprepared. I don't think they were expecting this groundswell of positive affirmations for a person that did a crime in broad daylight. Americans are very crime-brained. They literally will be like, oh, you stole a fucking, you stole a Snickers bar from Target? Like, that's unacceptable. You should get a death penalty. Like, that's the attitude that people normally have. So in a country like that, all of a sudden, Americans are coming out of the woodwork, regardless of political ideology, turning around and saying like, no, this was good. That's how severe the pain is for every American person.
Up with Americans sharing their frustration with insurance providers. A survey taken last year found 12% of claims were denied, up 20% from 2020. While a 2023 survey found nearly 60% of insured adults experienced some issue with their coverage in the previous year.
What's Jenks' attitude on this? Well, I'll tell you, I don't know about Jenks, but Anna Kasparian also hit the classic, like, I can't believe the left is celebrating murder, and then changed her tune real quick. Originally she was like, originally the first day when it came out, I remember reading a tweet from her. When it first happened, I remember reading a tweet from her that was like something that even Michael from Pennsylvania was yelling about, I think, right? Am I crazy? But she has basically decided, you know. Oh, she said this. I mean, this is pretty much the same reaction leftists like him have when a working class woman is stabbed to death at a bus stop by a repeat offender they want roaming in the streets. But she very quickly changed it. Or are we just going to devolve into vigilante justice? Plus, it's useless, counterproductive. That brings no change to healthcare. But then today I saw her. Yeah, first she said, this is how the left is on random working class women being stabbed, which is crazy. I don't think anybody fucking has that kind of attitude, this indifference, okay? Then she said, responding to someone that said, are you okay with for-profit healthcare? She said, I still have the same views on healthcare. I want single parent. You can hate and condemn our healthcare system or United Healthcare in particular and also condemn murder. Are we just going to devolve into vigilante justice? If that's what people want, I'd be careful. I thought that was the kind of culture we didn't like. I guess it's okay when you find it righteous, but what comes with severe societal consequences that are worth considering? Plus, it's just useless, counterproductive, really. This brings about no change to healthcare. I get it if you don't feel empathy, but maybe don't overtly be a dick about it. Political positions never win when they're attached to unlikable people. And right now, the left is unlikable. And then she responded to Ben, live your life in such a way that you aren't a socialist leech on the ass of society, reveling in the murder of people who work for companies you don't like. Her attitude is different now. It's not just socialists that feel this way. It's felt across the political spectrum, which might mean you're misidentifying who the leeches are. So it seems like she's changing her rhetoric a little bit. Nobody is buying the media, what the media is saying about this event. Yeah. No, that is what I'm covering right now. Here, this is the. Here, we'll do not. Yeah, we'll look at the broad reception of the assassin as well. But
now, in the wake of the shooting, some business leaders are looking to increase corporate security. United Healthcare, the company Thompson worked for, removed photos and biographical information of executives from its website. Another health insurance company.
The persona that this individual has taken on. And it has been remarkable, unsettling to watch the public response to what has happened here, and just the kind of caustic reaction to a father, to a human being.
A part of the social media response. I mean, I think, you know, outside of social media, maybe everyone sort of just sees this as a cold-blooded murder. Look, never, if your tweet starts with assassination is bad, but you might want to rethink that tweet, right? I mean,
I don't think people are rethinking those tweets. I think you guys are the people who should be rethinking the way you're covering this if you want to maintain any sort of institutional legitimacy and any sort of broad credibility. That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's it. It's like, that much is clear to me. It's like, this is one of those cases where people are just like, I don't give a fuck. One must examine why people feel that way. You don't have to go out of your way. You don't have to go out of your way to be like, murder is awesome. This is sick. Like, you don't have to say that, right? But I think this requires an in-depth examination as to why people feel this way. And I think it requires an in-depth examination as to why many people whose entire job is to basically say all the harm that you're experiencing under this awful processed serialized form of murder at the behest of the profit motive is actually good, and there's no alternative. Like, all of those people that say things like that on these institutional all of the people that say, like, this is completely, you know, all the people that are directly at odds with the way that people feel about it should maybe take a cold, hard look at why they are so obviously on the opposing side of, like, the broadest subsects of American society. I said this immediately after the shooter shot the healthcare CEO. I'm wondering what a poll would look like. I'm wondering what kind of broad popular support this shooter would get right now if they actually polled it, honestly, in an honest way. I feel like he would get overwhelming majority support.
Not know why the CEO of United Healthcare was murdered on Wednesday here on the streets of New York, but some of us have been really surprised by the reaction online. Many have shared their very deep frustration with the health insurance industry.
I have never seen Americans so united on something as I have over the last 24 hours in the comment sections on these news articles about the United Healthcare CEO.
If you think that I didn't need anesthesia to have surgery, you're insane.
I'm having a hard time being empathetic to the situation whatsoever, because this is a billion-dollar company, okay, that denied.
United Healthcare's profit for the last year was $37 billion. Pure profit, $37 billion. 37 with a B. Okay? It's fucking crazy.
Has access to people every single day.
And we're fighting with the insurance company over her dialysis to keep her alive.
Having said that, I think that there was something really instructive in seeing how almost gleeful people are about this horrible event. And the truth of the matter is what it tells me is something that we all already know, that Americans have just had it. We have had it.
She speaks for a lot of people there, but this really isn't about this tragedy. The videos of the doctors talking about their frustrations with insurers are from before the shooting.
I had billed $12.
Like, look at this. United Healthcare forecast on December 3rd. Profit largely in line with estimates. Forecast adjusted profit for 2025 largely in line with Wall Street estimates. The company sees adjusted profit for the year between 29 shares of the company fell 1%. United Healthcare, akin to its peers, see a demand and surge for healthcare services under the government-backed Medicare plans. This is them talking about privatizing certain aspects of Medicare. We talked about this extensively. Their stock went up, by the way, after the CEO got killed, which is crazy. For 2025, the company sees a revenue between $450 billion and $455 billion, compared with the estimates of $431 billion. The company expects cash flows from operations to range from $32 billion to $33 billion. The stock is down 10%. Oh, it is? I thought it went up after. In the immediate aftermath, I thought it went up. Last tweet on this, but the idea that health insurance providers are greedy and squeezing customers to juice their profits is ridiculous, dangerous rhetoric. UNH's profit margins are 6%. Premiums alone don't even cover the cost of medical and operating costs. Then it shouldn't exist. If it's not profitable at all, then let's just fucking not exist it. Let's just literally end it. Like, what are we doing here? Oh man, this is some sort of, am I supposed to assume that for-profit healthcare insurance companies are actually operating at the behest of the population? It's a fucking fake mediator industry that doesn't need to exist. It doesn't exist in so many other places. I hate this idea. Yeah, by the way, that 6% profit margin is $33 billion, which is what's crazy. And yes, the stocks did go up immediately after he got shot. The real reason United Healthcare stock prices spiked after its CEO's murder. They eliminated a redundancy. That's probably why. Civil war is inevitable. Elon Musk, it's not based to kill a CEO. Yeah. Civil war is inevitable and great if it's actually Americans fighting against Americans on, otherwise inconsequential things to those in positions of power. I don't know if Elon actually tweeted that second tweet, by the way, but I do know that him and every other CEO right now is probably shitting in their fucking diapers. I don't think the second tweet is real, for the record. It's not base to kill a CEO. I doubt that he would say that. He knows, he probably recognizes how much motion this has right now. Yeah, I saw him bring his little human shield, his little child to a public appearance. Anyway, what is this? Dear caregivers, you may be aware, I work for a smaller regional health insurance company in the West, and they're losing their shit here too, lol. They got armed security guards, but only the building where the executives are. Where before they only had tasers, and they're asking employees to report suspicious things more intensely. It's beautiful to see the fear. You may be aware of the national news regarding the passing of United Healthcare CEO. See, this is the issue with vigilante justice, though. Okay? The issue with vigilante justice is that, like, it can very quickly turn into unnecessary death and murders of, like, you know, random fucking people that work at private healthcare companies that are just like low-level employees. That's the problem, which is why I still think that the best possible solution in this circumstance is to change the outcome, is to eliminate this fake mediator industry that is unimaginably costly to the American taxpayer. What? Please read my chat logs, please. I'm the girl at Oxford that asked you about sex work. Thank you for being so respectful. Okay. You don't have to spam it. Matt Walsh defended the guy who killed a homeless man while simultaneously condemning people celebrating the CEO's assassination. Couldn't be any more on the fucking nose. Exactly. Because a lot of these Republican commentators, as opposed to like the actual normal, like working class Republicans, they don't mind when it's like, they don't mind when a powerless individual is killed. Some of the most marginalized people in society, they celebrate that shit. But when it's an actually powerful person that is killed, then all hell breaks loose. They're like, oh, this is a complete collapse of the systems. Oh, because they're tasked with defending these people. That's the point. I've never felt more reaffirmed in how correct I am when I said if Democrats actually pick these issues that people feel real, genuine harm around and tackled them, they would be broadly popular. That's it. This is an opportunity for the Democrats. If all you care about is electoral politics, okay, this is it. There is no better indication of how fucking angry people are than Americans who literally operate by the Hammurabi Code normally going, nah, this vigilante assassination was good. Think about how much Americans actually love, you know, punishing criminals. And this is a instance where they are not interested in punishing a criminal who did the fucking worst crime you could do. It's just an assassination in broad daylight. Politicians are so unimaginably disconnected from their constituents and their interests. And not only that, but also so is the media. And this is yet another instance where all of these institutions are like trying to present themselves as civility understanders, norm understanders, institution defenders.
And change for a patient's allergy injection. And they had done an audit and said that they weren't going to cover that bill of $12 and change. I am a doctor, and I have no idea why they're able to deny this.
Does anyone else feel like they're having everything denied and need to appeal lately? I mean, I'm talking about joint replacements for a patient with bone-on-bone arthritis needing to get appealed for no reason. Like, what do we do? How can we make this end? I just feel like I'm in this cycle. We're spending more time dealing with insurance companies than with patients.
Insurance is the largest roadblock to just attaining proper treatment, access to healthcare. And it's just like we're just bleeding money left and right in this healthcare industry. And who is it benefiting? Not benefiting me as a doctor.
The guy's going to get away with the cops seem lost. I mean, ironically enough, a part of the reason why the cops seem lost is because every aspect of American society, including fucking policing, is also crippled by the same profit motive that undermines every institution, because they're using like artificial intelligence and shit. I mean, cops also are just really bad at their jobs in general, and this is yet another instance of them being really bad at their jobs and being bad at their jobs in broad fucking daylight.
It's not benefiting the patient. Who is it actually benefiting?
Wow, here to help us understand why so many people are so very angry is CBS News medical contributor Dr. Celine Gounder. She's editor-at-large for public health at KFF Health News. Really glad to have you here, especially on this particular day. Listen, we can all agree that the system is broken. We all agree on that, but it seems that people are having a hard time separating the broken system for the person. The fact that so many people are gleeful is the word that this has happened to this man just sort of stuns me. How did we get here?
Look, vigilante justice is not okay.
Yeah.
We do have a country of law and order where there are systems to address these issues, which we can talk about more. But look.
Like, if you don't want, it's simple, okay? If you don't want the Me Too movement to like randomly get out of control and start yelling at like people for having like a bad date or whatever, then the systems can't fail victims of sexual assault, okay? And the same goes for this. If you don't want people to release the pressure that they fucking feel, if you don't want vigilante justice, and I don't want vigilante justice, because there is obviously vigilante justice is uncontrolled. Okay, it turns into some of the most damaging aspects of the Cultural Revolution. You know what I mean? It's decentralized. It's primarily focused on revenge. Okay, and it can be its starting point can be an adequate point of anger. Okay, a real point of anger, but it never ends in that situation. It never ends with only the appropriate victims, or I mean the appropriate targets. Okay, so if you don't want vigilante justice, you have to fix the problems. And I think that a lot of people, a lot of these institutions are so woefully incompetent and are so used to not fixing these issues that it doesn't matter. Yep, Hassan, just remember he's the CEO of his own company. Yeah. I mean, look, I am the CEO of my own company. I'm not. But listen, if I get murked, it's going to be a fucking psychopath, neo-Nazi, very likely, or like a Destiny fan, all right? And I'm going to get murked because of the things I speak on that many of you agree with. It is what it is. If it happens, it happens. Nothing I can do about it. Having said that, okay, I'm not in here to fucking defend the honor and protection of CEOs. I'm not saying that at all. I just want people to have healthcare, man. That's it. The CEO of his billionaire father's corporate empire? Yeah, I know. My billionaire father. So funny that they claim that my dad is one of the richest people on the planet. Like, my haters are so fucking stupid.
to quote Al Sharpton, the rent is too damn high. Healthcare costs are too damn high. And what we see in this country is that the number one cause of bankruptcy is healthcare-related expenses. According to KFF polling, after groceries, transportation, and rent, healthcare costs are the number one cost of concern to families in this country.
Didn't you say healthcare is what radicalized you in college? Yeah.
And so we've gotten to a point where healthcare is so inaccessible and unaffordable, people are justified in their...
By the way, the rent is too damn high is not Al Sharpton. That's so funny that she said that.
No, you shouldn't go broke trying to live. So the insurance industry can do something about this, can't they?
Well, there are things that can be done. So under President Obama, there was the Affordable Care Act, which helped to expand health insurance. So you had Medicaid, you had the marketplace, then you also have subsidies to make it more affordable to purchase plans on the marketplace. Those were made even more generous during the pandemic. And then those more generous subsidies were extended under the Inflation Reduction Act under President Biden. But we also have other challenges in terms of why are healthcare costs rising. So, you know, you have efforts to extend coverage and make more people have healthcare be available, but prices are going up.
So we're the only country in the developed world that has this struggle, that has this challenge of people seeing the cost of healthcare rising and insurance premiums also rising. There's a recent KFF poll that found a quarter of U.S. adults.
Interesting. Every single person that's sitting on the seat when Bernie Sanders was saying these exact same words portrayed him as a radical. Okay? Portrayed him as a threat. One must ask the question, why? Now they see it? Interesting. I was in an accident at the gym where my front teeth went through my bottom lip and put a hole right below them. I went to the hospital to get my lip glued while scared because this was during COVID. The attending doctor was a bitch the whole time and so rude, and my mom got a bill for $9,000 for that visit because I didn't have insurance. I spent less than 15 minutes in the hospital. The healthcare system cost U.S. taxpayers $49 trillion over the last 10 years. Without the insurance middlemen, it would cost $32 trillion. That's $17 trillion that could have gone to healthcare instead of lining the pockets of insurance company CEOs. The other side of the story is that mediators in the insurance industry are also responsible for the high prices because their interests do not revolve around lowering the actual costs. Their interests revolve around not paying for the actual costs. Okay? That's the other problem. That is precisely the reason why every other comparable OECD nation that actually mass purchases pharmaceuticals in bulk are capable of lowering the fucking prices of healthcare and pharmaceuticals. In America, it was illegal. Barack Obama was the first president that allowed the VA, which is the only, at the time, it was the only like close to nationalized form of healthcare, to allow bargaining at the purchase point. He still maintained its illegality for every other fucking, like for Medicare and whatnot. Think about that. We are the only country where the government is not allowed to bargain with pharmaceutical corporations at the point of purchase. It's illegal. Think about that. Is he not going to the Streamer Awards? I am, man. I am going. And for the record, it doesn't even make sense. Murder is good. Murder is good. Murder is good. What are you saying, Bjorn AIDS? If I thought murder was good, I would say that this CEO and all healthcare CEOs and the entire healthcare insurance industry is actually perfectly fine. They murder like they murder close to 45,000 Americans every year by refusing to cover their healthcare costs, even after they fucking paid for it. So, no, I don't think it's good. Sock them, motherfucker. Yeah, I don't understand how people that come from countries with socialized medicine will still turn around and go, Yeah. All jokes aside, it's really fucked up to see so many people on here celebrating murder. No one here is the judge of who deserves to live or die. That's the job of the AI algorithm the insurance company designed to maximize profits on your health. An algorithm with a 90% error rate, by the way. But that's the whole point. You can use AI for shit like that because the entire point is to, the entire point is to deny more. That's the whole point. That's where AI thrives. You can't really use AI to like actually target an assassin and find them or anything like that.
Say they've skipped or postponed getting the care they need simply because of the cost. So what needs to change?
Well, we have a very different healthcare system from other countries. We have a very piecemeal healthcare system with our coverage, with the way it's delivered. Many other countries have what we call socialized medicine. By the way, Medicare is socialized medicine. Yeah. And even that socialized medicine is the most expensive.
Sheltered Rosebud is like, are we going to talk about Gaza? I spent literally the past week delivering speeches on Gaza. And the one day where I'm back in LA, immediately Sheltered Rosebud is like, oh, can you please start talking about Gaza again? Yeah, take a week off, okay? I'm just going to keep banning Sheltered Rosebud, I think, over and over again. She's just going to be able to chime in once, get banned for a week, come back, chime in again with the same exact perspective, knowing full well
in terms of healthcare for the elderly in the world.
You've timed her out for 9 weeks total, by the way. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why she's just like always has to be this way.
There are a lot of different proposals that have been made. So again, going back to the Inflation Reduction Act, negotiating down the price of drugs, giving Medicare the authority to do that. We've already seen one round of price negotiations.
Yeah, chat, you need to stop encouraging her. Like, she thinks she's in the right when you do that.
The incoming administration wants to eliminate the Inflation Reduction Act, at least many of the provisions of that. So whether that will continue, we don't know. We've seen a lot of mergers and acquisitions in the healthcare industry, which means less competition. The Biden administration has really been trying to pursue antitrust suits to block some of these. The Trump administration, the prior administration, tried to make healthcare pricing more.
No, this is not enough, okay? Simply only reducing. This is the same principle behind chucking 2 pennies at a fucking homeless person, okay? Lowering lowering the price of insulin for Medicare only by 2026 is not the fucking broad sweeping change that people are demanding, okay? This kind of incrementalism is not enough. People do not, like, it's great. I'm glad that it's happening, okay? But it's clearly not enough. And it's not even like a why make perfect the enemy of good. Okay? That's what liberalism is all about. Saying, oh, you must not make perfect the enemy of the good. Like, this is a good thing. Yeah, I know. But it's fucking ridiculous when the most consequential, broad sweeping legislative change on this issue has been lowering or limiting the price of insulin to those over the age of 65 to $35 by 2026. Okay? That's crazy. It's like you have a fucking gunshot wound on your chest And they offer you a fucking Band-Aid and they go, well, I covered, I'm covering some of your injuries. Why are you still complaining? You pay for insulin? My friend, Americans pay an insane amount for insulin.
More transparent. That was another way of trying to make things better. It's really going to depend.
Enough. Yeah.
It's not enough. These are all sort of chipping away at a bigger problem.
So we saw the doctors in those clips talk about how it seems like more and more claims are being denied. Are you seeing that? And for people at home whose claims are denied, what can they do?
I'm definitely seeing more claims being denied. And what we're also seeing now is increasing use of AI by the insurance companies to deny claims. And then you have competing AIs being developed by healthcare systems to fight the health insurance AIs. Me as a doctor, I have to spend a lot of time on the phone with various different companies to try to explain why my patient is in the hospital, needs to be in the hospital. If you are finding your claim...
It's kind of insane. People can mention your name and get 40K views easy.
What the hell was that Oxford Union questions? Like, did the whole Destiny Discord just flood the Oxford Union? I mean,
It was Cambridge.
What the fuck? They didn't ask, like, I swear there was like 2 questions about Israel-Palestine. I swear, I'm flabbergasted, guys. What the fuck was that? I mean, he handles himself very well, but like...
Video will be. Why is Hassan speaking to Oxford Union with the kind of shit he says? I know. One must ask the question why all these other like reputable institutions don't feel the same way that you do. My mother's a conservative cancer survivor, but she got very angry at me when I jokingly complimented the deposer. I guess we are just really lucky to not have any really bad experiences with insurance. I think it's good that my haters were out in broad daylight. Daylight is a pretty solid disinfectant on how hysterical some people come across. TikTok audience hates you for some reason. They always say you say stuff you would definitely never say, so I know they've never watched. Yeah. Some people on socialist Twitter were calling you a useful idiot. Yeah, it's fine, guys. I think the way that online spaces work is that you can be really echo chambered without even realizing it. It's something that I try to deliberately avoid. It's something that I try to deliberately work against, if that makes sense. It's funny.
Is happening.
Oh, Will just showed up.
Something is definitely happening. And I would be remiss if I didn't talk about this particular funnel into the alt-right that is informing how the alt-right is reacting to this moment right now. Because despite Ben Shapiro uploading this video, this was their response. And I'll do the image descriptions for this, but yeah. So Ben Shapiro uploaded this video, says the evil reactionary left cheers murder in reference to the United Healthcare CEO being gunned down in Midtown Manhattan. But then something happened. And shout out to Wild Geeters on Blue Sky for bringing this up. But these are the responses to Ben Shapiro on his own video. It says, "I'm as right as they come. I have as much empathy as he had for those who lost their lives due to not receiving health care. Sorry, Ben, but nobody on either side feels sympathy for this man."
People are cooking Ben Shapiro and everybody else that were like, people are like, dude, I'm right wing, and you're ridiculous for saying this is a left right issue. But anyway, we're not going to talk about politics because Willard Neff is in the building, looking.
And neither one of us have an outfit.
And looking jacked to the goddamn gills. Okay.